It's springtime in Central Texas, and the true beauty of the hill country comes to life. New growth abounds, revealing its many wonders and natural beauty. Roy Creek Canyon is alive with water. It's a perfect time of the year for two of the top wildlife experts in Texas, a botanist and a biologist, to complete their surveys.
Roy Creek here in Hays County is one of the top, say, 2 examples I've seen that is literally untouched. The stands in here, the cypress, are somewhere probably close to 600 to 700 years old. And what's really unique about this steep and sized canyon is a plant community or habitat system that we really get a chance to see, because most of them have been impacted with some kind of human influence. My good friend Andy, he used to be our former state herpetologist at Texas Parks and Wildlife Department, and he's now with the San Antonio Zoo. He's extremely knowledgeable of rare critters like salamanders.
So in that environment, it makes perfect sense, right? Their eyes are larger because they live in this low light environment, not no light.
He's often sifting through leaf litter for these rare salamanders while I'm recording the plants.
So it's really cool.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Man, I love that stuff.
You know,
We also saw this plant called Matamore Hacoon. I didn't know it was in Hays County. Lou, do you mind if I collect one specimen of this for a museum?
Yourself.
Okay. And I think I just want to make sure that if it's in a Dishell County record, it'll be pretty important for Texas.
yeah.
This is Lithospermum, if I was right, matamorensis. That's a Mexican, right?
Yeah. Matamoros.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a peripheral species. It's a G3S3. We actually tracked this. Anyway,
wow.
So that's kind of cool.
And you haven't documented it here before.
New.
Wow, has such delicate flowers. Yeah, it seems like every visit, you find several new things.
What's unique about it is it's one of our peripheral plant species that barely makes it into the continental U.S. There also are several plants that are endemics that are only found in Texas. There's several of them here on the property. One of them is a paintbrush plant only known from Texas and only known from a few counties in the Everest Plateau in central Texas. So that was exciting to see that species today. I'm pretty certain too this was actually a new county record.
Oh yeah, here's what we're looking for. So this is a nest of red harvester ants. These are the primary prey for the Texas horned lizard. It's really good to see these. They're a really important component of quality horned lizard habitat. So it's nice to find a big mound here. This looks like ideal horned lizard habitat. It's nice to see it around here. It's beautiful. That'd be a great Ansel Adams black and white.
What was that again about that brush pile?
Well, they're really important to have that dead wood on the ground because, when this limestone's 120 degrees in summertime, there's no place for all the little invertebrates and beetles and things and salamanders and lizards to survive those conditions. They need things like this where, the wood stays relatively moist, it holds soil, it gives them shade and shelter. So these are really important. It's amazing that tree has been lying there for 60 years. It still looks like it does.
This preserve also geographically sits next to not only the University of Texas, but our agency, Parks and Wildlife. The Nature Conservancy has a big presence and a lot of other land trusts and conservation groups. And so the Adams Preserve gives us an opportunity to help restore other canyons in the nearby area here in Hays and Blanco and Travis County, and lends itself to a great opportunity for research that'll help us understand really, really unique natural areas like this moving forward.
My name is Katie Lyons. I'm a graduate student at the University of Texas at Austin. I'm in the EEB program, which stands for Ecology, Evolution, and Behavior. My primary advisor is Dr. David Hillis, who works on a number of things, but mostly, or most importantly, local salamanders, which is my area of focus. Central Texas is home to a group of endemic salamanders that are local to the area. They're very interesting for a number of reasons. A number of the species are endangered or threatened. They spend most of their life underground, which is why I find them so interesting. They live in aquifers, and they pop out sometimes in springs, caves, and even wells. They're small, they're almost colorless and clear, and something else that's interesting about them is that they're pedomorphic, meaning that they never actually metamorphose. They remain looking like juveniles for their entire life cycle. My research focus is a very interesting method known as environmental DNA detection. Environmental DNA is any DNA from an organism that's left in their environment, whether it's from perhaps skin cells sloughing off or from droppings. And environmental DNA is a good way to study Eurycea because they are so difficult to sample. So what I do is I look for really nice springs, caves, and wells on properties like this one, where I think that Eurycea may be present, but you could go sample there 200 times and maybe never see them. So I've been all over Texas looking for at various places to sample environmental DNA. And what I'm looking for is areas that are mostly untouched, because contamination is my number one source of error. Human contamination or contamination from other species. So a property like this is really ideal for me. I've been to the Big Spring here, and it was perfect for my eDNA sampling. Because it was very pristine, it was very untouched, and I got the sense that I was really getting very fresh spring water. So we know that there has been a salamander discovered on this property, which is very exciting. So that's part of the reason that I find that this property is so important to my research, is that I want to see if the salamanders are potentially at other springs, because if they're at one spring in the property and everything is connected underground, I don't see why they wouldn't be at the other springs. I love this property, I think it's gorgeous, and I can't wait to come back and do more research.
Ruben Tovar, another salamander specialist, is continuing Katie's work and the eDNA research studies being conducted at the university's Biodiversity Laboratory.
Let's go. I've come to further investigate if I could find any more of these aquatic salamanders, one of which has been found here. This is kind of a preliminary scouting of several localities of the springs and the creeks that they have here, and the caves. I noticed that there is a lot of habitat all around that it seems to be relatively pristine, and this usually fosters the healthy ecosystems.
That's beautiful. How cool. That is so pretty.
But this also means that it's a lot tougher to find some of the species that we're interested in, including the salamanders. So if you have salamanders, if you have also some of these subterranean invertebrates, like the amphipods and the isopods that have been identified here as well, that's usually an indication that your aquifer system is healthy, and by extension, the water is good water. If the water quality is altered, then they're usually the first to be affected, and they're usually the first to go.
Additional DNA studies have revealed yet another discovery.
Katie did receive a positive hit, if you will, on your locality, one of your spring localities here for a salamander. So it's exciting. So I hope to come back and dig a little more and see if we can't find some salamanders. Have a little luck.
One of the most exciting aspects of being involved in the Eco Laboratory program is when the students visit the Canyon Preserve.
You guys feel how much cooler it is? We can kind of divide and conquer here, or we can all sort of like put out, I'd say like 5 hot dogs, like 5 honey baits. We'll kind of put out and we'll mark them with flags, and then we can do our sampling. You guys can get some water and stuff. It's good to have like 2 people sort of doing this. So we'll set it down flat. You'll have this going downstream, right, the bag. The flow is not. You can see like there's definitely a lot more diversity here. Like there's more different kinds of things. So I think that's just from this is bigger and has more nutrients and it has more oxygen. Yeah, so you know they get big. Well, they get much bigger. Let's do one more up that little side spring, and then we'll call it quits.
It's been a productive and fun day for the students, an opportunity to learn more about invertebrates, but also a visit to a rare and special part of the Texas Hill Country. On a cold, blustery winter day, 3 of Texas' top salamander experts have gathered to explore an undisturbed water source.
I'm Andy Glusenkamp. I'm Director of Conservation in San Antonio Zoo's Center for Conservation Research. I'm here today with Tom Devitt, who's with the City of Austin's Watershed Protection Department, and Ruben Tovar, who's a graduate student at the University of Texas in Austin.
Tom also brought his young daughter along, believing that it's never too soon to begin training the next generation of scientists.
Holes in it? The water travels through? Cool, huh?
Roy Creek is a really special place because there is an undescribed species of salamander that we found in a spring on this property, and it's only known from 6 other sites on Earth. There are a lot of groundwater invertebrates that occur at this site, amphipods and isopods both, and the salamanders are feeding on those.
I collected Cicadodia here.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Which was, James said it was the first record north of the Colorado for Rhodella.
This morning we set off to drain the spring box and remove debris while very carefully using nets through that material, and we actually discovered 2 salamanders.
Wait. Under your right hand, Andy, is a salamander. Oh, there it goes.
Yep.
Here,
Nice.
send that.
He's right there. So we found a fairly large adult and a juvenile salamander, both of this undescribed species. Yeah, it's the biggest one I've seen. We also found a couple of individuals of a terrestrial plethodontid salamander that likes to hang out in rock piles and damp areas.
So this is the one I had asked you about the last time I visited. If you saw a black salamander with white spots on it, and so you'll see it has a bunch of little white spots on its side.
So that was kind of cool to find them right next to the aquatic groundwater salamanders. And then we cleared out some of the silt and sediment from the box, enlarged the area of the spring pool, and that's more habitat for this incredibly rare salamander. 2 animals we found today are going back to the University of Texas at Austin to be photographed. And then Ruben is going to introduce them to his captive propagation laboratory, and hopefully if it's a male and a female, he'll be able to breed them, and then he'll have offspring from these individuals that he can study as part of his research at UT. It was a very successful and enjoyable day, and we got a lot of good work done. I just love doing this stuff. It's like playing, it's like being a kid again, and yet that is combined with getting to do cutting edge research on rare and unusual species right in our own backyard.